So you want to hitchhike South America, a continent of breathtaking beauty, unfathomable distances, and a delightful disregard for your carefully laid plans. Why, you ask? Perhaps it's the romance of the open road, the call of adventure, or more likely your bank account is screaming in protest at the mere thought of a bus ticket. Let's be honest, it's usually the money, or lack thereof. This isn't some spiritual quest, it's a cheap way to get from A to B, maybe, eventually, with a lot of interesting detours. South America. It sounds exotic, doesn't it? And it is. In ways you can't quite prepare for. The guidebooks paint a picture, usually a glossy one. They don't tell you about the dust, the endless waiting, the questionable roadside snacks that will test the very limits of your digestive fortitude. They don't tell you about the sheer mind-numbing boredom punctuated by moments of sheer heart-stopping terror, or maybe just profound awkwardness. It's a land of contrasts, all right, especially the contrast between your expectations and the often grim reality of the roadside. Argentina, land of tango, steak, and wind. So much wind, especially in Patagonia, Route 40. A legendary road, mostly legendary for how long you'll wait on it. Your thumb out, hope dwindling with each passing car, which isn't many. The wind whips your hair, steals your hat, saps your will to live. You start to understand why the trees here grow sideways. They're trying to escape, just like you. But you're stuck, waiting, always waiting, for that one kind soul. Or just someone going in vaguely the right direction. The hours stretch into days sometimes. You develop a new appreciation for the subtle art of looking desperate but not desperate. It's a fine line. The sun beats down, or the sleet. Patagonia doesn't do things by halves. You watch condors circle overhead. Are they waiting for you to give up? Probably. You eat your last stale cracker. Contemplate your life choices. Why didn't you just learn to code, or sell insurance? Anything but this. This slow, patient erosion of your spirit by the vast, indifferent landscape. Then a miracle, or just a very old truck. It groans to a halt. The driver, a man whose face looks like a roadmap of Patagonia itself, grunts. You grunt back. Bolivia, the Andes on steroids. The air is thin here. Your brain cells even thinner. Every step can feel like a marathon, especially when you're chasing after a truck that stopped for you. The roads? Let's call them suggestions. Potholes the size of small llamas. Landslides that appear out of nowhere. It adds a certain frisson of excitement, or terror, depending on your outlook. And how recently you updated your travel insurance. Which you probably didn't. You thought hitchhiking was the ultimate budget travel. Then you meet the Bolivian bus system. Sometimes it's your only option. Or your driver decides his truck is too full of coca leaves to take on a passenger. These buses are an experience. Chickens are common seatmates, so are sacks of potatoes and families of 12. Personal space is a foreign concept, suspension is a luxury, but hey, it's cheap. And it gets you somewhere, eventually. Probably not where you intended. The people, often stoic, reserved. Peru, home of the Incas, Machu Picchu, and a whole lot of desert. The Pan-American Highway snakes its way along the coast. Sometimes it's a proper highway, other times it's a dusty track where tumbleweeds go to die. You stand by the side of it, thumb out. Optimism fading faster than the daylight. The landscape shifts dramatically. 1 minute barren sand dunes, the next, you're climbing into the Andes again. It's a geographical roller coaster and you're just trying to hang on. Everyone wants to see Machu Picchu. It's the big one, the main event. Getting a ride it, however, is another story. Especially if you've adopted the authentic aroma of a long-distance hitchhiker. That's a polite way of saying you stink. Drivers can be picky. They might prefer their car doesn't smell like a damp llama for the next week. Can't blame them. Really. You start to consider walking, or befriending a local with a donkey. Desperate times. Lima, the capital. Section 5, Ecuador volcanoes, equators, and questionable rides. Ecuador, smaller than its neighbors but it packs a punch. Volcanoes loom everywhere, Cotopaxi, Chimborazo. Their snowy peaks a constant reminder of nature's power, and your insignificance. The roads wind through valleys, up steep inclines, the avenue of the volcanoes. It sounds grand, and it is, when you're not stuck on the side of it for 6 hours. Watching the clouds roll in and your hopes for a ride roll out. It's scenic though, if you like scenic despair. Crossing the equator, a big moment, right? Mitad del mundo, the middle of the world. There's a line, a monument, and a dozen guys trying to sell you overpriced souvenirs. And a certificate proving you stood on the equator. You buy one. Of course you do. It's a piece of paper. But it's a piece of paper. Proof that you were there, enduring the tourist traps, and the slightly underwhelming feeling that the earth didn't actually shudder when you crossed the line. Still a good photo op. Then there's the jungle, the Oriente, deep, green, humid, so humid. Your clothes are permanently damp, your hair has a life of its own. Getting a ride here can be tricky. Section 6, Colombia coffee, kindness, and cautiously optimistic thumbs. Colombia, The name used to conjure up images, mostly from bad action movies, narcos, danger, general unpleasantness. But times change. Now, it's more about coffee, stunning landscapes, and people who are, frankly, almost alarmingly friendly. Your thumb goes out, and someone actually stops, often with a smile. It's disconcerting. After weeks of being treated like a roadside hazard, you almost don't know how to react. Is it a trap? Usually not. Usually. The roads. Oh, the roads. Colombia is mountainous. Very mountainous. So, the roads wind, and climb, and cling to sheer cliff faces. Landslides are a common occurrence. 1 minute you're cruising along. The next, you're waiting for a bulldozer to clear a path. It adds an element of surprise, keeps things interesting, as if hitchhiking wasn't interesting enough. You learn to appreciate the engineering, and to say a little prayer every time you go around a blind curve, which is often. The people are the real treasure here, genuinely warm, curious, eager to share what they have, even if it's just a tiny cup of tinto. That's Colombian coffee. Section 7. The characters you meet, a rogues gallery of the road. The road is a stage, and the players? Well, they're a mixed bag. You meet all sorts. First, there's the silent type. He picks you up, nods, points to the passenger seat, and then says absolutely nothing for the next 5 hours. The radio might be on, usually some mournful folk music, or ear-splitting reggaeton. You try a few conversation starters. They fall flat. You start to wonder, is he deep in thought, meditating, or is he plotting how to dispose of your backpack? It's always a gamble. Then there's the evangelist. They see your dusty, road-weary appearance, your general air of desperation, and they see an opportunity, a soul to be saved. They'll offer you a ride, and a sermon, for the low, low price of your eternal attention. Pamphlets will be produced, testimonies shared. You nod politely, stare out the window, and silently pray for your destination to appear, quickly. You appreciate the lift, less so the unsolicited life coaching. But hey, beggars can't be choosers, or sermon dodgers. Sometimes you encounter the fellow traveler, another intrepid soul thumbing their way across the continent. Section 8. Creature comforts, not, of roadside cuisine and questionable sleeping arrangements. Let's talk about food, the fuel that keeps this ill-advised adventure sputtering along. Sometimes you get lucky. A driver shares his lunch. A family invites you for a home-cooked meal. These are moments of pure, unadulterated joy, a taste of normalcy, a reminder that not all food comes in a plastic wrapper. Other times, it's a different story. Stale bread, a bruised banana, a packet of crackers that expired last year. You eat it, because hunger is a powerful motivator, and your standards have plummeted. Gas station cuisine, a genre all its own. The fluorescent lights hum, the coffee machine gurgles menacingly, the empanadas sit under a heat lamp, looking suspiciously ancient. You eye them, they eye you back. It's a standoff. You succumb, you buy one. The filling is a mystery, best not to ask. The coffee tastes like regret, but it's hot, and caffeinated, sort of. This is survival, not fine dining. Your stomach learns to adapt, or it protests, loudly, usually at 3 a.m., sleeping arrangements. Ah, the luxury. Sometimes if you're incredibly fortunate, a kind soul offers a spare room. Section 9. The lingering aftertaste. Was it worth the sheer absurdity? So, you look back. Through the haze of exhaust fumes, the layers of dust, the countless hours spent staring at asphalt. What remains? A jumble of images, sun-scorched deserts, towering mountains, grimy truck stops, the occasional breathtaking vista that almost made you forget the misery. Almost. It's a weird kind of nostalgia, for discomfort, for uncertainty, for the sheer unadulterated freedom of not knowing where you'll sleep, or what you'll eat, or if you'll ever be clean again. The stories, you've got them now. Pockets full, backpacks overflowing, enough to bore your friends for years, or terrify your family, or maybe, just maybe, inspire someone else equally foolish. You can talk about the time you shared a ride with a chicken farmer and his prize rooster, or the night you slept in a police station in a one-horse town, or the philosophical debate you had with a truck driver about the meaning of life, fueled by too much coffee and too little sleep. These are your trophies. Slightly tarnished, definitely weird. Did you find yourself? That old cliché,